Hello, hello. Thank you for joining the impromptu webinar that I've organized for today. I'm just waiting for everyone to come in. Hello. Can you just all let me know in the chat box that you can hear me well? Awesome. Thank you, Alpesh. All right. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you. Thank you. So we are going to go today into a 1.5 hour webinar that I want to organize, obviously, given the recent events that are happening and whether or not you are in Dubai, you can see on a global scale that everything is affecting us right now deeply, and that it is really pretty much an attack on our nervous system. You can tell me also in the chat box before we begin how you are feeling. You can't hear me? Can you still hear me? You should be able to hear me clearly. I'm back. Okay, great. Please do let me know in between the webinar if I am out, because obviously for myself, I hear everything. Great. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. We'll just wait 2 more minutes. I have so far 11, 12 people that have signed up. Obviously, we'll start timely, and then everyone else who joins in can simply join in. As I said, I've decided to do this impromptu given what is going on in the world. And I understand that this is very challenging for all of us. And no matter how much inner work we have already done, and no matter how much we understand the processes, it has an impact on us right now. And this is, if you have observed my content for the while, and some of you know me personally, you know that I talk a lot about the intensity of the energetics coming in. And while I started talking about it last year, many people did not understand me because the energetics weren't here. But right now, I believe that it is very obvious that something fundamentally in the structure of our existence is changing. Part of it, of course, is geopolitical, it's economical, but much more than that, everything is at first energetical. So this webinar is going to be about us and how we can stay centered, how we can feel secure in ourselves in a world that is increasingly going to become insecure. Yeah. So we'll wait 1 more minute and then I'll just begin. And then we will see. Just let me know in the chat box, please, how everybody is feeling so that I get a bit of feedback and I'm not just feeling like I'm talking to myself. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. Yeah, you can leave the camera on, you can leave the camera off. It's completely up to you. I just would like you to turn off your microphones because then sometimes there can be noise interferences. Okay, so we are just going to start. I'm just going to begin and then we will see anyone else who comes in. I'll just let them in. So first and foremost, thank you so, so much for being here. I know a lot of people are saying they're feeling very calm, very peaceful. And that's because what is happening pretty much on the outside is a purification right now. It doesn't feel like it. Yeah. But before we go in, let me introduce myself so that you know. So my name is Anita. I'm an energetics and embodiment mentor. So my work is truly to help all of you powerful souls to reach your sovereign frequency and to be able to maintain it. What is a sovereign frequency? You have to imagine your sovereign frequency as your baseline. This is your foundation, okay? When we build any house, any property, the foundation has to be stable. because otherwise any natural disaster, anything that happens can shaken the building. So within ourselves, our sovereignty is basically the integration of all parts of us. It's the integration of our past. It's the integration of our emotions, of our thoughts, how we look at life, how we perceive life. It's our ability to stay firm within ourselves, no matter what is happening outside. And when we are very sovereign in our energy, it's basically the energy creates this field around us, around ourselves, and it helps us through this energy to maintain this field in a stable way. So you're not easily shaken by what happens, you see? Because normally in life, we are very susceptible to outside events, to our environments. And you may have noticed that we are all becoming way more sensitive. We are all becoming way more open to the field, to the information outside. And it's this sensitivity and this openness right now that we are experiencing that is shifting our system, because we need to readjust now the way we've done things and the way we hold ourselves through life and through different situations. And that can be in relationships, in career, in business, but especially within our own system. All right. What is going on outside? And as I'm recording, there's a lot of noise with the aircrafts. You shouldn't be actually hearing it because I tuned out the noise, but just in case. We are in time of big shifts globally. Okay, everything that is happening now is the beginning of a big reset. And I know you've seen this a lot outside. Everybody is now talking about energetics, and everyone started to talk about astrology. And it's funny, if you think about a few years ago when I talked about astrology, I was laughed at. And now everyone is actually looking into it, because astrology is not just some star sign voodoo. It is actually a powerful, predictable tool for cycles and events. So what we are having right now with these energetics and why they're so intense is because we have approached a portal. So tomorrow we have the blood moon eclipse in Virgo, right? And it's happening on March 3rd at 3:33 a.m. I just want you to tune into the numbers a little bit. Okay, 3rd of March, 3:33 a.m. This is Western time. It's going to be different here in the UAE. And if we take all the numbers together with the year, we end up on a number 7. What is 7? Spiritual awakening. Okay. Now we have layers of spiritual awakenings. And the second layer that we are actually entering now is the layer of remembrance. What is remembrance? It's remembering who the hell you are. It's remembering the power that you have inside of yourself. You see, we are coming from a system, and I'm using also now human design for those of you who are familiar with it. We are coming from an era, from a time where everything that we were doing was very much related to fitting in. It was related to surviving in a tribe, in a community. We needed to do that. Right? So if you look at the medieval ages, if you belonged to a tribe, you had safety, you had security, you had shelter. Going against it meant you were casted out. And we carry all of this in our cellular memory. So this is not something that happened back then, and today we live different. It is still ingrained in us. Now think of yourself, how many times in life you have made decisions in order to fit in order to keep the peace. And how many of those times you actually went against yourself. Just tune into this for a moment. If you have never done this, then amazing. But if you have, you know how it feels to do that. And all our power was outsourced to outside authorities. Someone else knows better than us. Okay? Now we are entering the era of sovereignty, but it's also the cross of the sleeping phoenix. What does it mean? The phoenix is awakening. So we are rising from the ashes. Rising from the ashes means we need to burn first. Otherwise, how can you rise from the ashes, right? What is burning? Old ways of thinking, old ways of being, old ways of holding on to trauma, of holding on to things that no longer serve us. Outsourcing our power to someone else. This is ending. This is now a time of sovereignty. So, which means we need to be able to lead ourselves, no matter what happens. No matter what is going on outside, the ability to lead your energy, to lead your life, taking self accountability, self responsibility is going to become a predominant factor. So we are no longer going to do anything to fit in. We are going to do everything to express ourselves individually. And a big part of it right now, and I'm speaking about this a lot, is expanding our container. Yeah, so the first part of this webinar, I'm going to explain the energetics. I'm going to explain the changes we are moving into, and then we are going to go into practices. So I'm going to go with you into an energetic expansion of your container, and I'm going to do a light language transmission in the end, and then we'll have some Q&A. Yeah, so just to know the structure of this webinar. Expanding your container is your capacity to hold the energetics. So you have to envision that the frequencies that are coming in right now, and I know you've all felt it. You felt it because your body might have been shaky. You might have gone through several feelings and emotions within one day without understanding why that is. When the frequencies are very high, it's like voltage. All right, we romanticize the energetics as something benevolent, as something beautiful. No, it's not. They are high voltage energies. It can destroy your system in a second. So your ability to hold the energy and stay within it, and as you hold it to expand it, that's going to help you to hold more and more of those frequencies coming in. By you holding more of these frequencies coming in, you're going to be less emotionally impacted by what is going on in the world. How many of you were emotionally impacted by what is unfolding? I'm speaking really emotionally. The state of the higher energetics and where we ideally need to move towards is neutrality. Neutrality means you are in the state of the observer. You allow yourself to sit with what comes through without immediately labeling it, judging it, or identifying with it. That is neutrality. Neutrality is not, I don't give a damn. Usually we refer neutrality to that because we are neutral about things or people that we don't care about. But that's not the case. It's being able to remain neutral while deeply caring about others. That is very important. Okay, I want you to really tune into this just feeling of neutrality. And the reason I'm saying certain words and asking you to tune in is all preparation for what we are going to do. So the words, when they're coming in, they should be settling in your system, okay? How many times a day, and just answer this for yourself, you can put it in the chat box, are you reacting emotionally to things? Intuitively, not because you want to. Someone does something, you're pissed off. Someone that you hear something, you read something, you're triggered, you project. The problem is that us humans, we don't let things exist as they are. We project immediately. Why? Because it goes through our filters, our perception. What is our perception? It's the way and the filters we perceive information. And we are right now bombarded with information more than ever in our lives. From all sources. On top of it, we have AI. We have fake information. So what becomes crucial right now, this is where your sovereign and neutral state comes in, is being able to discern, to feel the frequency of somebody before you listen to what they say. This counts, especially in the world of social media. If you follow people that have big accounts, big followings, tune into the frequency, not into the numbers, okay? So now, the energetics as they are here, and I'm just going to say it right now to all of you, they're going to get more intense, okay? I have pretty much last year predicted that this is going to happen, what is happening now. To those that know me, to those that I've spoken to, I've said that. Okay. And I have said that it's going to intensify all the way up to 2030. So I'm just going to leave it there. All the way up to 2030, with its peak being 2027. So the new background frequency grid is already here, and it's going to activate next year in 2027 with a powerful eclipse in the summer. This eclipse tomorrow is going to have an effect of 18 months. And you see what's happening around this eclipse. It's not just the eclipse, it's the Mars-Uranus square too. If any of you does astrology, check the astro card of Iran, check the astro card of certain countries. You will know what I mean. Okay? This is not about war, this webinar, but I want you to understand that what is even happening with countries like Iran is right now a great awakening. Okay, I want to get away from the geopolitical. You have a lot of channels where you can get this information, okay, where you can read about it. They're factual, some of them at least. I'm talking here energetics. I'm talking here stargates, portals, and corridors. Every soil, every country has a frequency, and those frequencies affect us. You may have noticed that something shifted in the energy. What is happening even here right now is a purification. Purification of very heavy energies that have been around for a while, if you have noticed. So, this purification on a scale like that affects each and every one of us. What does it mean for our nervous system? It means our nervous system needs to learn to hold. Have you ever done weightlifting and weight training? Most of you most likely have, right? And then you had to hold a really heavy weight you haven't done before, so you upgraded the kg, and you're holding it now. You can't hold it for long in the beginning. You have to practice your muscles and to train to hold it. And then you can increase it as you go. The same work that we have with the muscles is the work we have with our system and with the energetics within our system. I want you to really look at the energetics as weight that you are lifting right now. Okay? Because when you're able to see it as a weight and to hold it, then no matter what happens around, you're going to feel stable. Now, I know a lot of you might be afraid of the future, maybe even financially, economically. All of this is there. Changes are going to come economically and on all levels, but they're going to first and foremost come within you. When you understand that everything happens on a certain frequency bandwidth, right? You get to choose every day what frequency are you going to go on. Are you going to go on the frequency of fear? And that's not to say bypass it, ignore it. That's to say feel it, stay in it, don't let it consume you. Or are you choosing to stay on the frequency of trust and inner power? You have to choose every day, sometimes several times. And you see, when those things just begin, we have to basically rewire the pattern, interrupt the pattern in which we do things. Because everything unfolds in pattern mechanisms, and they're usually very unconscious. And you can't break a pattern. You have to consciously interrupt it every single time so that they rearrange themselves and you create a new baseline. I mentioned before, your baseline is your frequency baseline, is your foundation. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very weak, 10 being very strong, where do you feel is your frequency baseline? Just put it in the chat box, please, so that I can tune in and where you feel yourself to be right now. Right now in this moment, okay? What is the bandwidth between 1 and 10? 1 is the lowest. I feel weak. I'm too susceptible to outside information. 10 is the strongest. I can hold my energy. 6, 7, very good. And the others? 5. Okay. So when you're able to hold this frequency between 5 and 7, you're on the frequency bandwidth of transmutation. 1, 2, 3 are lower states. You're still on the programming. 5, 6, 7 is transmutation. 8, 9, 10 is mastery. Energy mastery. So I want you to close your eyes for one moment. Just close your eyes and just listen to my words, okay? I want you now to tune into your energetic system. And as you tune in, you just take one deep breath in and a deep breath out. And just now observe your body. There should be no thoughts. If they are, just ignore them. And just tune into the body, into the field. Now, any energy has its center, its vantage point. Where in your body do you feel or sense your vantage point? It's not going to be in the same spot for everybody. It can be in the lower chest, it can be in the solar plexus, it can be in the womb. Notice where it is for you. Shoulders. Okay. And then notice as well if it's on some side, if it's on the right or the left side of the body. Right side of the body, masculine, left side of the body, feminine. Just observe where it is. Good. Now tune into this energy stronger. It's like you're tuning up the volume and observe, visualize this energy like a motor. If you're struggling to visualize, just imagine it as a motor, like a vortex, but I'm using the word motor. And now keep breathing in and out of this motor. In and out of this motor. And as you're breathing into this motor, notice it accelerating, becoming stronger. Now, as this energy is becoming stronger, allow this motor, in whatever size you see it, to expand. So if you, for example, have it on your shoulders, allow it to expand down your chest, your belly. If you have it on the lower abdomen, allow it to expand towards the chest, the legs, the feet. You may see it in colors, you may see it in vibrational patterns. Depends on each and every one of you. And it's good that you're yawning, because when you're yawning, it's a release, it's an activation. So please keep yawning. Okay. Good. And now with one deep inhale and exhale, inhale into the center as you expand it. Drop this energy from your feet all the way into the earth. Into the grid. You can visualize the grid like a massive web. It is a web that has several points on it. If you can't see it, visualize it, know it's there, okay? You don't have to see it for it to work. Stay present. And now plug yourself into this grid as if you would plug in electricity, your socket, and begin breathing from that grid the energy also into your body and out. Very good. Keep breathing it in and out. You may see different parts of the grid lightening up with frequency. You may see other things around, so observe what you see as you are in the grid. When I speak funny, I have light language coming through, so okay. All of you here are actually very powerful souls. And as you are these powerful souls, you need to remember that power you hold. Now, as you're expanding into the grid, I want you to feel the power of Earth. Feel the power that this grid holds. And as you feel the power of this grid and you inhale it in, you feel the power in your body. Ayamana uyana maketinda ayana ma unkayana ma shikihi igula. Some of you are very worried. Others of you are quite relaxed for now. Keep breathing into the grid. I have transmissions coming through, so feel the frequency of the grid adjusting to the frequency in your body. If you feel like the voltage is higher, if you feel like your body is sweating or you're shaking or you're struggling to connect, just observe what happens to your body in those moments. It might be easier for some than it is for others. So the reason we are placed in certain countries at certain times of our lives is not just for our private reasons, whatever they are, but it's very often to keep the energy so that the grid that holds the land can strengthen. In certain countries, many of them on Earth, the natural grids have been hijacked. This is what you often feel when your nervous system picks up on things, when you're shaky, when you feel numb, when you feel in denial, when you feel like you can't really connect. It's the artificial grid. The artificial grid, however, cannot affect sovereign souls. As we are currently approaching the new frequencies becoming stronger and the background grid that is going to change the way we live life, that's going to change the structures in our societies and in ourselves and in our bloodstreams. As all of this is becoming stronger and anchoring, insecurities can arise because it's something we are not used to. It's something there is no reference point, and this can steer fear, even if it's very subtle. Now tune back into the energy of your body. And stay centered on that power center of yours, on that motor. And I invite you to visualize now everything that you're afraid of, everything that you're insecure about, everything that you're worried about, everything that actually bugs you. I want you to visualize it almost like planes flying around you, even flies flying around you. They're flying in a certain orbit. Okay, you can see it as people, as scenarios, as images, as events. And as you are visualizing them, you notice that they start looking almost like a tornado with a lot of chaos. Everything right now that is affecting you, or based on the news, based on the events and what the future will hold, based on what is happening, put that into this field that is flying around you. Try to not, I can feel that some of you also do not want to believe certain things, do not want to look into certain things. I want you to put everything there that you hold inside. Even the stuff you don't want to believe, you don't want to know, you want to ignore, just put it all there because it is as an energetic imprint in your bodies. Huya ma e kaya uye namala e una e ana namala e kutunda mara kata 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 uy kala la tada y una maha e kaya nama uya te hija tu kara e kuya na mara e ya sha Now visualize these orbits, planes, as whatever you see them, like a tornado, like a hurricane around you. And also feel where these visuals pull on your energetic system, pull on your body. They might be anchored as a signal into different points of your body. Anything we are affected by has a signal in our body. It's similar like as if you go somewhere you want to catch Wi-Fi, it has to have something to connect to. You are the signal, right? So anything that is there, whether you want it to be there or not, is still existing. So notice where the anchor points are. If, for example, this situation is worrying you, where is the anchor point? If the injustice in the world is annoying you, where is the anchor point? If you're angry at life, where is your anchor point? See it almost like a map in your body. Like we look at the sky, we see different stars and even sometimes constellation of the stars. It's the same way it is mapped in our body energetically. Notice where these points are. And remember to keep breathing in and out. Now I want you to feel these points in your body starting to pressurize you. Let them increase in intensity. Okay, allow yourself to feel everything in this moment. This webinar is for you. Please do not hold back. Allow the pressure in the body to rise in the anchor points while firmly, as you're feeling everything, holding your center. Keep holding that center. Observe where you're falling out of it. Maybe you feel the centers in parts of your body you didn't know they are. They might be in some of your organs. Maybe some of you have issues with kidneys, bladder, heart, maybe gynecological issues for the ladies, because I see a lot of dots around the uterus areas here, and I see also a lot of dots around the kidneys and the spleen. Ayamahu kati eanama. Eanama kati iuna whakaiahi I unta eanama hiku ianama. Ia tahe arakatahe 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 arakarakarakarakarakaraka shu. Aya whahui atake kalakatui ya 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 ya. Shu. Si amahu iu. Shu, shu, shu. Now, as you stay in your center, allow this energy of your center to touch these points, which means you inhale into the center and you expand the energy. Visualize it as if you're opening big two sliding doors with open arms, and you are expanding the energy to these centers, and you're holding them until you maybe see some of them pop. Hold them. Expand this energy. You can imagine it like lava. It is a very slow, almost thick movement. And as you're holding that power center and you expand it to those parts that are affected, I call these points leakages. Notice what happens to those points. Now, these points can also be people-pleasing mechanisms. It can be difficulty to speak up. Everything that is happening outside is a reflection of the collective consciousness. Whatever you are heavily affected by, something you hold inside. Because some people are more affected by the worry of the economy and others are more affected by the worry of safety. Everyone has different anchor points. Some are affected by all of it. And then as you notice these center points, now expand the energy beyond your body. And I want you to also open your hands. It's like you're holding those two doors. It's like the Michelangelo picture. This is the radius of our morphogenetic field, okay? So expand the hands on the side and literally hold the energy there and keep breathing in. So expand it through the whole radius of your body. Shukayama huyana he. Iumakata hiana he. Shukayana la 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 la. Shikayarata he. Uyakatayo takato wayana mahikayana matikutarikata takata takata. Shu 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 shu. Shu shu. Hold the energy there. Hold it for 10 more seconds. If you feel tired, please keep holding. Now you can hug yourself once you feel you've done it. You will see for yourself when you had enough of the holding. You will feel it, okay? And then just hug yourself in this moment. And scan the body now. Scan the body now again. What is looking or feeling different? What is looking or feeling different? I say looking, I mean the visual you have within yourself. Good. Now I want you to bring up any mechanisms in your life that you don't want to have anymore. Stay in this energy, please. Mechanisms that run your life that you know you need to change. You will know which ones they are. Or new mechanisms you have already developed and you would like to strengthen. And again, these can be mechanisms when you are saying yes, when you mean no. Mechanisms where you're afraid to be your full self, because these things are very sneaky. We might think we are so authentic for ourselves, but we find ourselves in moments where we betray that. And I use that word betrayal for a specific reason. I know it's a strong word because nobody betrays themselves willingly. We do it because we think doing that will give us something, right? Now bring up the one thing that has bugged you the most the last 24 hours. What has bugged you the most in the past 24 hours? Yes, the events for sure, but it might be your reaction to the events. Teama uyama inkumba yana hikayana. Iana unkayana hikatu eana masaka hikutara. Now look at the situation now that has bugged you the most in the past 24 hours. When you look at it now, do you feel the same about it? Ikuya, taya ikayana mahikayana ukayana ma elai katahi ena kamaya unkatahi kuyana faha. Ika katarahi katika katarakatahi takarakatahi takarakatahi takarakatashi kai. Shufush. So when I do these transmissions and all of that, it clears your field. It clears your field from distortion, and it usually realigns the nervous system, which can lead to a lot of tiredness or feeling of yawning or so whatever is there for you or whatever isn't is right, okay? And of course, we are tired from everything, aren't we? It has been a lot. It has been a lot we are going through in life. We just came out of 2020. 2020 was Armageddon. Keep your eyes closed, okay? These are still transmissions. You may notice that since 2020, life doesn't feel the same anymore. That something is different. And of course, we humans, we always do that. When things go apparently back to normal, we forget everything and we just want to continue our normal life. However, that won't be possible moving forward because you need to create a new normal. And then, of course, all the media, all the news, all AI, all the frequency attacks. People do not realize the amount of frequency attacks on us daily. And your field is very sensitive to it. So when you suddenly feel down, when you suddenly start worrying, suddenly have physical symptoms out of nowhere that feel heavy or draining, when you suddenly get anger, I'm speaking really of suddenly, not something you're carrying all the time. These are attacks, frequency. Which means they're able to attack you. Now it's up to you what you do with this attack. It is often very subtle, so we don't realize it and we think it is us. Now tune into the energy of your nervous system. Visualize your nervous system in the body, okay? However you see it, you might see it in blue colors. I see it blue and white. Now notice if you see a lot of red, if you see a lot of orange in your nervous system, observe the color that's coming in or that's coming through. Now, when I say certain words, I want you to observe your nervous system, how it responds. You might see it twitching, you might see it changing color. I will now just throw certain words at you, okay? And these are going to be words that are used very often lately and a lot in the media, a lot in your life as well now. New World Order. New World Order. World War III. World War III. Epstein files. This might feel heavy, okay, but I'm doing this for a purpose. Okay, so observe your nervous system right now. If you feel like crying or laughing or anything, let this be there, okay? Because I see only two of you, I don't see the rest. Pedophiles. Notice how you respond to these words, what it does to your system, okay? Forgive me for doing this. There is a reason I'm doing this. I'm not doing this to hurt or harm anybody. Satanic rituals. And feel what happens in your body as well if you get goosebumps at certain words. Okay. Breathe. Cults. Cults. Artificial misinformation. Artificial misinformation. Israel. Observe what happens in the body. Observe the moment you put immediate emotional response or judgment to something. and the belief that comes with it immediately. Clones and robots. Some will invoke less emotional response than others, okay? A military attack. Economic crash. Truth. These are words, some of them, that you are, for lack of a better word, bombarded with every day, at least in the past week. You read it in the news, you hear it in your conversations with other people. It's in your system right now, 24/7. And trust me, even if people don't live in the Middle East, it is felt what is happening now. And I don't want to go into theories, why and who and what. I just wanted to stay with the energy of this heavy information. Did you notice how your system was responding? What happened to your nervous system in the moment I was saying those words? Was any of you neutral? Were you able to receive these words neutral? Exactly, no. Thank you, Alpesh. That's why I did that, yeah. I've seen emotional reactions to this, and I had goosebumps just saying those things out loud. This is the perceived reality we are being put into, the constant frequency information. Unless you're able to shield yourself with your field and you can open your eyes, you're going to be affected by this. This is not to say ignore it. This is not to say bypass this. This is not to say I don't care. No. Can you receive truth information without collapsing under it? Can you see the reality of what is going on in the world while staying in your field? You know, in crisis situations, there are people who panic and there are people who stay calm. On what side are you? It has everything to do with your system. These frequencies are gonna hit harder as more the grid is activated, the more these frequencies are coming in to do what? To affect your system. They're designed to affect your system. A lot of it is true. Some of us knew this a long time ago. However, if we take the assumption that everything that is created here is created for specific reasons, I'm not saying it's right, it's wrong, it's good or bad. Because, you know, with spiritual things, people talk a lot, oh, love and light. People talk a lot, oh, this and this happens. It's great. Can you hold your frequency while things go down? The thing we are most sensitive to, all of us, is children. All of us, whether we are mothers, aunts, or we are not, all of us. Why do you think this came out now? And then the war. I mean, yeah. Do you think that happened just like that? And there have been wars in Ukraine. There is a war for years. There is in other parts of the world wars all the time. People are killed and die all the time. Why is it that right now we are so affected? And why is it that these news have been pushed so much? Why? Because it's an attack on your system, and it succeeded. When we fall into the trap of attention, which is exactly our energy, right? So if you think about energy vampires, a very simple term, they feed off energy, right? They feed off our energy, our attention. It's their food. It's like we have our food. So if they want your attention here, you give it. And you give it freely, and you react emotionally, and you're outraged and sad and fearful. What happens to your system and what happens to your power? Who are you giving it to? Can you feel, see, without giving your power away? This is why I did this exercise for you to see your anchor points. Have you seen your anchor points? Please comment in the section if you have seen your anchor points that respond to certain information and to the words. Yeah, you can put it in the comment section so at least I know what's happening with you. You have not seen your anchor points. It's fine. You have felt them. Not everyone can visually see. Some feel and some don't see it, and that's all right. Why I'm doing this is that these words I've just told you are around you all the time at the moment you open your phone. You had a blackout. I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah. You see, in this webinar, you will get a lot of activations, okay? And you will feel them the next few days. You will. A lot of what is coming now depends on our ability to master our system, okay? What do we do when we are overwhelmed, usually, when something happens in life? We actually intuitively know what is good for our body. We either go for a walk, some people go running, some people go dancing, sometimes we do yoga, sometimes we simply just sit and meditate. Everyone has their own regulation system. But it is very hard to maintain that with that overload of everything. And you see, the information overload we have now has never happened before, ever. We are being pulled in all directions while the foundation of the consciousness of the collective is crumbling. It's fragmenting. This is what we called the split. It's the fragmentation of the basis, the fundament that held everything together, guys. This is breaking. And you see it. You see that the way the world is, yes, you can say history repeats itself, but more so we feel something is not the same and it can't go back to what it was. And we are the power players in all of that. So we are being pulled into all directions because everyone is looking for our attention. And we feel we have to have a response to everything. We have to know everything. We have to have an opinion about everything because people have a hard time to receive information without projection. You know your system is regulated when you can stay neutral. This is how you know. It's a key word. It's neutrality. Then you know you are embodied, regulated, integrated. So for yourself, think about that. How much percentage would you say you have in that? And how much of it do you have majority of the time? Because there are days you feel great and then it feels easy to be that. But right now is the test. Right now, everything you've worked on for yourself is being tested. It's like you're practicing for a marathon. It was all training, but actually on the day of the marathon, you now need to put in what you've practiced. That is the time. It's a change, not just in the world economy and in structures, it's the change in the fundament of our existence right now. And the fight is for your attention, Akka, your energy. Who are you giving it to? Who are you trusting? Who do you want to trust because you like what they say, but you actually know it's BS? Observing without projecting. Let's say I have this glass, yeah? So you can't see much because it's fairly wide. Now, a lot of people now look at the glass and straight away say, oh, there's water. Is that right? You look at the glass, what's the first thing that you notice? What's inside the glass, correct? If I had a beer, you would say, oh my God, she's holding a webinar and having beer. Yeah? You wouldn't be able just to look at it. You would straight away try to analyze it and name it, aka label it. Now, if I had, let's say, a beautiful cup, which I don't have here right now, you would look at it and you would straight away say it's ugly because that's a normal glass. It's not much about aesthetics. But if I had a beautiful cup, you would say, oh, it's beautiful or it's ugly immediately, immediately. Train yourself for whatever comes to let it be there long enough for you to see the reality of what is without projection. My red nails, just look at them. Try to look at them without thinking ugly, nice, pretty, don't like this color, whatever. Just try to observe it. Just observe. Let it be there. It's just red nails, right? If you're neutral, it's red nails. Now, this is an easy example. That's why I was giving you before the words. When we are in a neutral state, we are not in the state of polarity. This is, if you have a pendulum and the pendulum swings from here to there, the moment it centralizes itself, that's the 0 point. And that's the point from which everything basically stems from. That's the vantage point. The energetic vantage point is the 0 point. We call it the womb. That's why we say from the womb, everything is birthed and created, and men have a womb too, an energetic space. So we are humans, we will go here and go there. And in the beginning, as long as our system is not properly trained, as long as we don't hold the energy, it might go like this. Whoop, whoop. It's like a swing and it goes very strongly up and down. We women experience this oftentimes during our PMS phase. Yeah, and we are going like this. And with time, the more you balance it, the more softer and lower it goes. It's not any more volatile in its moves until you reach here. That's the space also you reach when you're tired of everything and when you surrender. How many of you have had these moments when you say, F this stuff, I can't anymore, I give up. Whatever it was in your life about. It's the moment you really surrendered because something was just not for you able anymore to remain. You fought, you tried everything, and you realize the moment when you do that, when you surrender, we call it surrender. It's the moment you realize how exhausted you were of the fight. That's the point of neutrality. You've been there a million times. I'm not giving you a foreign concept. You've been there and you know how it feels. Yeah. So you have to consciously train yourself like you train your muscles to go there every single time. You won't be 24/7 plugged in. That would be a lie. But if you can make it your vantage point, even if things go like this, you can very quickly readjust. Because if it's here, you can't. You can't. You have to wait for it to stop. And this is the moment when you surrender, right? I fight, fight, fight. No, I resist. I fight, fight, fight. No, I resist. And then at some point, you're here. Does this make sense when I explain it in this way? Yeah, especially for the current times. Now, it is on you to recognize for yourself how much in your life you're still in that state of allowing outside events to influence you heavily. And this is not to say we are invincible, nobody is invincible, but it's on you how much you allow it to influence you in a way that it crashes you. You see, for whatever happens, whatever darkness is out there, darkness has to exist. They have their role. They do really have their role. Yeah. But the more you can be the counterbalance, and the counterbalance is not light, the counterbalance is you and your power anchored into the frequency. We call it light because we are light beings. The more you create the counterbalance, everything that happens now in the world, it's on us to create the counterbalance of it. So otherwise, the scales would tip. And of course, what is done through frequency interference, through all of these events out there, is exactly that. It's getting you out of the balance. It's kicking you out of it. And this is going to continue to happen. Next year, 2027, is going to be massive. That's the year where, the new frequency grid anchors in. And if you think of the frequency, in the era we come out, all the values we had, the history we had, the way we lived, what was important for us humans, all of this is changing now. That's not to say love is not going to be important anymore or stuff. No, but it's going to transform. We're going to see it for what it really is, because let's be real, a lot of what we call love is not love. It's attachment. It's fear. We call it love because that's what we think it is. And the two largest energy fields we have on Earth are love and money. And just feel into this frequency of true love and true money. True love is freedom. True money is neutrality. Most people have an emotional response to money. And to love, we take love as this. I love you, come here. What are we dealing with every day the most? Love and money. On the outside, what is a lot of the fight about? Money. These are the two fields that have been corrupted the most, the masculine, feminine. Yeah, love is the feminine, the money is the masculine energy. The Stargate and the corridors in Iran are masculine power, masculine frequency that has distorted over the past centuries. It's time that the matriarchy comes. It's going to within the next 20 years. But it's on us individuals to create. Hello? Very often when I do webinars like this and even sessions, it's like I'm getting kicked out. It's not the first time. When I talk about specific things, I'm not being paranoid, but I do recognize patterns. I'm kicked out. It's like, stop talking. Yeah. So I really want you to know that the power of this change in the world is in all of us. The power of the shift is in us. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You are.
Maybe I should talk about flowers and fairies. It's going to stop kicking me out. I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is why I am speaking so much about the sovereign field. And I think you can feel now why it is so important. Because also, all this protection talk, the energies are going to do the work for you. This is what is changing now. It's less the old way of doing is going to die. The new way of being is going to take over. And being is a very active doing. It's just frequency energetic first, then physical. Have you noticed that when you try to do things the old way, they don't really work anymore or not much? Yeah. It's going to be less and less effective. So this means that at first you have to align to the frequency, to the energy inside of you, and then you have to stay firm in it. When you catch yourself falling for old patterns in your behavior, stop yourself. Not judge yourself, just stop yourself, interrupt yourself. Go back to the energy every time you're afraid, because you might be. We all, I mean, I'm not invincible either, right? Go back to the energy. Every single time, your center is your anchor. Remember this. I think a lot of people don't trust themselves. They don't trust their energy. So it's hard for them to go to this center. And maybe they don't even know where it is. But I want you to see this center as your sacred space. And when you go back there every single time consciously, even you're shaking, even you're trembling, your system will readjust. Because the way the energy works in the body, it has a certain mechanic, just like the watch has a certain mechanic for it to function. We are no different. So you have to also understand your mechanic, how it works in your system. Not everyone here is going to be the same. But you all have your center, you all have that place. This is why I was going with you through this practice so that you know it. I hope you were able to feel it. And when you understand that you are actually a station, a frequency station, you have to be very mindful what information comes in and what you do with this information that does come in. You're not going to let everyone in your house either. So why is that you let all this outside affect your system? You see, we have three things happening at once now. We have the high frequencies where our system is readjusting. We have a mutation in our solar plexus, which is our willpower, which is our emotions. Solar plexus is the sun, solar, the way we shine in this world. That part is usually very affected when we don't allow ourselves to be big in whatever capacity that is for us. Yeah. So the mutation of the solar, which means we are becoming emotionally more neutral. The more neutral you are while feeling and experiencing everything, the more you can hold the high frequencies. Then we have the geopolitical situation in the world. that is affecting us right now? Everywhere in the world where you are. Yeah. So the high frequencies, the solar plexus mutation, the geopolitical situation, background grid shift. This is a lot. This is a lot that we have signed up to go through. On top of this, we are human. Solar plexus, geopolitical situations, background grid. So 3 layers, all happening at once. It's like you're trying to drive with the brakes and the gas pedal. I know we had before, there were times of our grandparents, we had world wars, we had all of that, and they went through their challenging generational karmas and everything. But what didn't change for them was the background. The grid was the same. The structures were changing, but the grid was the same. We have the complete shift. It has never been seen in history, ever. Maybe back in the ancient days, but that was going into the dark ages with the Kali Yuga, right? And you see now, experiencing all of this, how important frequency work is. You are here to master energy. And how do you learn to master energy? Through the opposite. You have to have opposition. There is no other way. So all these things are oppositions. You yourself can be your own opposition too. But it's through this opposition that we learn to redirect every time conscious. It's like when you drive a bicycle. Let's say you drive in an area where you have a lot of obstacles. Obstacle, exactly. This is what we call it. You will learn to navigate the bicycle based on how the obstacles fall. You're not just going to jump on an obstacle, right? Same with the energy. It's just the reason it feels harder is because A, no one taught us this. There is no one that went through this before. We learn as we go. And there is a huge component right now, and that's also very hard, and that is trust. Can you trust what is happening right now in the world? That is a big question. No, right? So when you cannot trust what is happening in the world, I'm not speaking now just physically, I'm speaking energetically and everything. So some of you said no. Now my question is, how much do you trust yourself? This is interconnected. The more mistrust we have, the more mistrust there is in ourselves. The more fear we have, the more fear we carry in ourselves. I know it's annoying, but literally everything outside is a reflection of what is in the field. If we are to believe we are 8 billion people on the planet, majority of them are not humans anyway. Okay, but that's a whole nother topic. You have to look beyond the veil of what is existing and what is represented. And you can choose. You see, any wars in the world are frequency based. They happen on a certain timeline because all timelines happen at the same time. I know there's a lot of talk about World War III. Don't fall into this trap. I'm not saying it's going to come or it's not going to come. Who am I to say this? All I'm trying to say is don't fall for this trap right now. You need to stay in your frequency because otherwise you're giving whoever is, putting that out there in the field over many years. You see, everything that's happening now has been spoon feeding you, us. It has been spoon feeding us. This information right now has been for a long time there. But as long as life goes on as normal, we ignore it. That's what I'm saying. This is how we are built. The moment it hits us directly, that's when we start to look at things. But the things were there all along. We are here, especially in a very powerful vortex center. The whole Middle East is frequency-wise incredibly powerful. I'm not speaking of the power, I'm not speaking of the money, I'm not speaking of any of that, of the oil, speaking of the grid that is laid in this part of the world. Africa is another one. Antarctica, third one. But only few of those countries are attacked while the others aren't, all the time. All the grids in the world connect to us. The reason I did the exercise with the Earth grid is because you are one with the Earth grid. Now you can be one with the artificial layer of the Earth grid, and you can be one with the organic layer of the Earth grid. And you can do this practice also every single time you feel overwhelmed. You can connect to the grid of the Earth. It functions like a sanctuary. Yeah. You see, whenever there is something, we can either go inside and be in the chaos, or we can be like an eagle and observe the chaos. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be in the middle of it? The wind blows north, you go north, west, you go west. Everyone runs there, you run behind them. I'm not being mean, I'm just really asking. Or are you able to do that? The positive outcome of all of this, Isabel is asking, depends on us. It does. We feel we are separate from anything that's happening. We are the main, not actors, the main, participants. Unknowingly, we are the main participants. And I know this is hard to understand, because if you are somewhere and there is, someone next to you, God forbid, something happens, or there is a bomb or something, it's easy to say this now, right? When you're in the situation, how will you react? This is what I mean. This time now is training ground. It's like if you have a performance and you trained all the time, now it's the rehearsal. The main act is next year. And I'm not saying this to scare you guys. I'm saying this for you to know what is coming so you can adjust your frequency accordingly and not live in a bubble anymore. This is rehearsal time. Yeah, I think everyone can understand. Training, rehearsal, main performance. You can fail in your rehearsals. That's what they are for. This is not about perfection. This is not about invincibility. And we don't have the responsibility of Earth on our shoulders. No. But it is our job to attune to the right frequency to create to whatever is here the counterbalance. You cannot, we have a saying in Germany, you can't fight fire with fire. When you are on that side with everything, you are the fire with the fire, or like, an eye for an eye makes everyone go blind. You can't do that. This is the old thing, and it doesn't mean that actually. The eye is this. So the more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in war. Yeah. Thanks, Alpesh. Yeah, it's very true though. I think that we all need to begin to become as we are becoming more sensitive, we are all more sensitive now. We feel everything more, we pick up on everything more. The more we sensitive we become, the more we have to become resilient. And we have to really acknowledge that the old that we know is gone, that the old way of things working is dead. And we are in this transition period, aka the rehearsal, until it's here. Because then it's a new way of existing, a new way together. And I'm not telling you to take everything that I say, as granted. Do your own research, feel into the energy. You feel for yourself if what I'm saying is resonating. Because your body does recognize truth frequencies. So we are actually in an incredible time of a complete reset. And instead of being very worried, we can use this powerful energy and focus on the new and what we want to build in the new. You can have a problem and a solution. Which one are you going to feed more? The one you feed more, like the wolf, is going to grow. And you have to remind yourself sometimes daily. I sometimes remind myself daily, okay, Anita, you're going to face now the solution or the problem. Where are you going to focus? Because sometimes we tend to focus on the problem, but it's not going to get us anywhere. And if you get at any moment angry, because we came from also a wave right now where there was a lot of anger in the field, and we are in very strong Aries energy. This is all Saturn, Neptune conjunction, 0 degrees Aries. Now Mars is gonna also Uranus and Gemini. We are in energies that bring out in us the warrior. So a lot of us may in the next months or weeks start feeling the fire inside. And that's also the fire horse here, right? It purifies through fire. It doesn't purify through water. It's fire. Things need to burn. It sounds very romantic, right? Fire horse going forward. Yeah, but so it's the new beginning of everything right now. And instead of us wanting to hold on to an old way of being, to an old way we have always done things, in our old dreams, what we thought, okay, in 5 years, I want to be there, I want to do this. We have to let this all go right now. Trust the process every day at a time. Right now, if you're trying to make big plans, and I'm not saying don't make plans, don't prepare, don't do those things, but if you're trying to make the big plans right now, you will see that they're going to be changed over many times this year. They're not going to stay the same, because as situations evolve, as you shift, so will also your life. And your life right now might turn upside down. And you will maybe be put on a completely different path than you anticipated. So we are coming from a time where, we had this strict structure of where we want to go, where we want to be, what are our plans, how do we get there? At least until end of this year, don't. Use this year to really learn to work with your energy and to apply this into everyday life. So everything that I am teaching is never an abstract idea. It is directly to be implemented into life. Because we are coming out of the time of very strong spiritual awakening, which happened with Saturn in Pisces, right? And Neptune in Pisces. We come from a time now of global spiritual awakening, with 2020 being a huge injection to that. Okay. So this year, now we are to embody it, to integrate it, to practice it in the physical form. Applying it into everyday life. Applying it to your work, to your relationships. Your relationships will change and shift. And look, we had the North Node in Pisces and Virgo. We still have, the nodes are still in Pisces and Virgo, which is a big shift in how we perceive our spiritual health. So we are supposed to let go with the South Node in Virgo of perfection, of control, of rigid routines. Of course, with this South Node in Virgo, it can cause a lot of physical health issues. Usually hospitals around these cycles are fuller than normal. It's not going to be for everyone. It's going to be for a lot of people who have those aspects in their chart. It's a complete collective new cycle. And once Aquarius starts in the summer, the new Aquarius, even though we had an Aquarius eclipse, yeah, we are in the age of Aquarius. It's already there. So that is going to be, especially when Uranus now enters Gemini, it's going to be a mental overload, information overload. And we are already left, right, and center information, where to listen to, what to believe, what is fake, what is real. Whenever this happens, center, back here. Because if you don't do this, if you follow everything, if you worry about everything, you will be fried. Your system will be fried. And the counterbalance to all this technology, to all this higher knowledge that's now coming in, this information, the counterbalance is the polarity of Aquarius, which is Leo, the heart. The more AI is going to take over, because it will, it's just part of the new times, the more the humanness actually is going to become important. Being human. That is the counterbalance. So you have to always remember, when you have a scale and you have too much weight on one thing, it's not balanced. Everything that happens here has to be balanced on Earth. This is why you see so much also darkness and so much evil in this world. It's going to flip at some point when the consciousness is going to rise more, but I doubt we are going to be here for that. Yeah, but we are, so to speak, the transition team. And instead of fearing everything that is coming now, and we are all tired because constantly it's new cycles, constantly it's something else and something new, and then and safety, insecurity, all of those things are just coming and bombarding us all the time. It's a lot for us, but also we wouldn't be here if we weren't equipped with everything we need to go through these times. I need you to remember that too. Frustration and anger, whenever you feel it, use this powerful emotion to motivate you and propel you forward, not to overwhelm you, block you, stop you. It's a powerful tool. I honestly get the biggest things in my life done when I'm really angry. Yeah, when I'm really angry, I make the biggest changes. Anger isn't bad, quite the opposite. It's just you need to use it in the right way, right? Everything we have is neither good or bad. It just has to be utilized in the right direction. And the more we come together in webinars like this, in places, the more we understand what is really happening and the more we can work with our energy, the easier it's going to be for us in the process.